All right. Dirty Sports, episode 782. We are live on YouTube in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Good morning, Andy.
Good morning. I talked to you a little before the show. I see you're getting in the. I feel like a lot of people around me are doing what you're doing. You're cut out on the booze for a minute, working out. You're getting in the zone.
Yeah, I'm not. A lot of people do dry January, sober October, no nut November, whatever. I just was on the road with Eddie, and too much drinking, too much bad road food eating. I mean, even you're bad eating when you're with Eddie, and he's like, "Hey, we should probably stop at that Sonic." It's like sometimes I think Eddie would rather eat a gun than eat fast food. So just was in Florida, beachy vibes, was like, not feeling as strong as I would like to. So just been on the grind, a lot of swimming, a lot of surfing. I've never been a gym guy. And there's only so much that I can do now. I don't hoop it up anymore with the knee. So it's just swimming and surfing, but now I'm on like an aggressive grind and just, changing the diet a little bit, limiting the booze, because the holiday season, you know how it goes. You're going to have some drinks around the holidays,
and you're going to have lots of good food.
Yeah. So I don't have Thanksgiving plans. But I was like, if I can just be really good until like that Christmas week where, you're just going to sit around drinking, hot toddies and Miller Lights and whiskey neats and filling yourself with all kinds of desserts and candy and stuff like that. I told Tug that the other day because Tug brought me a beer when we went golfing. He's like, I brought you a beer. Because I'm always mad when we go to the golf course and there's no cart girl or the halfway house is closed and I can't get a beer. He's like, I brought you a beer. And I was like, well, I'm not drinking them. He's like, I just don't even know who you are. He's like, wait until, just do dry January like everybody else. I was like, yeah, getting an early start, Tug.
Yeah, I think all of us use excuses like, I'll wait till the new year. I'll wait till dry January. I'll wait till my birthday. I'll wait till after Thanksgiving. Right. It's like, not to be preachy, but there's nothing stopping any of us from just doing it now.
Yeah.
And I've definitely been one of those guys as well who uses it as an excuse. I just know for me, it's the physical stuff, how it shows in your body. That's just a nice benefit. For me, it's all mental, right? Like if I exercise. So like my goal this year was to do hard cardio, 45 minutes or more a day, 85% of the year, which is like 311 out of 365 days. Basically, it's like 25 and a half days a month that I want to go hard 45 minutes a day. And I've stuck to it. And I just noticed I feel better. You know what I'm saying? Like me not getting fatter. And I've definitely eaten way worse here than I have in years. Coincidence, I'm in Cincinnati. I mean, not a coincidence, I should say. But my point is, I just feel like it's kept me sane, right? The exercise. You just feel better.
Yeah, I don't have any like goals like that. My thing is always just to like be better at the things that I'm doing. Like surfing here, when you surf here, it's like you're kind of at the mercy of the waves and when they come. So it's like, oh, when I'm not doing that, I got to be like grinding in the pool so that when there are waves, if we get a big winter storm, I want to be able to go out, no knee complaints, no, I haven't surfed enough, so I can't, it's too big and I'm tired and whatever. I just want to be able to like at the drop of a hat, go do the things I like to do. Going to get back on the mountain this year. I don't want to have any like, no, I haven't snowboarded in 2 years. Am I going to be able to do it? It's like, just have strong legs before you even try.
Yeah, I'd love to see, speaking of surfing, you can obviously count your calories when you run or swim. I'd love to see what calories are burned if somebody surfs for like 2 hours.
Yeah. I think it depends probably on, how big are the waves, how many, how often are they coming? Because a lot of times you're just sitting out there, but it's been like fairly big here lately. And, not to give away too much, but like I live closer to El Porto now than I used to when I was in Venice, where it's a little heavier. So if it's like 5-6 feet here, sometimes getting out is like a workout. Like
Sure.
just to get out one time, it's like you have to go hard and get out there.
Yeah. Well, I decided to hit the treadmill late last night because I was lazy during the day. And
Now this is in your basement, correct?
Yeah, it's in the laundry room. So this is a good segue to talk a little football. I put on the Sunday night game on my iPad, and I went like a nothing crazy fast, like a 6 mile per hour for 60 minutes during the Sunday night game, the second half, which I thought was wrapped up when the Chargers went up 17 points. I thought my 4.5 point line was going to be good. Oh, not so fast, my friend. Those sneaky Steelers once again.
I had one of my last night's Sunday night game. I actually had a fairly good gambling weekend overall. And then last night, a money Sunday night. I get the Chargers money line, the Steelers with the points, and the over. Just a trifecta.
Yeah. Well, that fourth quarter, man.
And then the other one that I'm pretty sure, sometimes I forget everything I've said, but I'm almost positive I said it on this show and I wrote it. I went so heavy on Chiefs Cowboys under because everybody's like, this is that Chiefs Rams game from a couple of years ago, 54-51. I was like, we'll see about that. When it's so obviously an over game, that's when you ride the under.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's start breaking these games down. Obviously, I started with the Sunday night game. Chargers offense looked great. Herbert, when he's in the zone, when he has time to throw, we see his running ability.
I mean, that's the other thing with the Steelers. Like, guys, like the entire game, you're just gonna go man. And the second he drops back and he realizes no one's spying him, he's just going to take off for 15 yards the whole game. You're not going to make any adjustment whatsoever.
I know. He rushed for 90 yards.
That's
and
insane.
Herbert's smart because he knows to get down too.
Yeah, he's great at it.
He didn't fight for those extra 3 or 4 yards.
And when he did do that, it was all very safely done. Like there was one play where he cut back and it wasn't like, oh, he cut back and some guy blindsides him. He looks, no one's there. He cuts back. He knows that at best somebody's going to tackle him from behind.
Yeah. To me, the difference, like what shows is you have an experienced team, an experienced organization, an experienced coach on the Steelers side, right? As far as they come back, you never can count them out just because they've done it long enough, right? And you have a young team like the Chargers with a young head coach. Way too many penalties on the Chargers. Way too many. I think they had 10 or 11. And they won, but I debate this win. Like, is it good for Herbert to have to come from behind? And let's just call it what it is. A road game. The fans are rooting against him. Is it? I wonder what benefits him or the team more, that they have to come back, win in the fourth quarter, or if they just trounce them.
I think it's just getting a win. I know you're saying it's a road game, but I think just getting a win at home is so important, and there's going to be games for them, certainly come playoff time, whatever, where it's like, you don't want to be blowing 17-point leads at home in the fourth quarter, but also that's not on the offense. You know, he got the ball back late in the game and he goes down. He immediately goes down and gets a score. Like, I think you just got a young football team that everybody sort of had higher hopes for than they've shown so far this year. But the name of the game is, like, I don't think anybody thought the Chargers were going to win that division or be a 1 seed or be a 2 seed or have a home game. And I think the hopes were have a really good season, be in the mix, kind of try to pace the Chiefs, be in second, and, you know, win a playoff game. And the first step is like getting in. They were on the cusp there for a minute. They're definitely, I would say, you know, the season overall there's been a few disappointing losses, but I think you just got to get in and then show that you can win a game like that. I think that gives them confidence.
Sure. I agree. I think, I mean, again, I know they were talking about Herbert last night, but I mean, he really is. It's crazy to think Tua was picked ahead of him.
Yeah. Oh, that's insane.
It really is. And, you know, from the Steelers, and I tweeted it out from Dirty Sports, it's like, here we are again. The Steelers are not good. Like their defense is good enough. And obviously they were depleted last night with injuries, and they don't have some of their great secondary, and they don't have Watt. But man, I just do not want this team to make the playoffs. They're not fun to watch.
I agree. I mean, it's not that I'm rooting against them. I don't really care one way or the other, but at the same time, it's just,
they're not winning a playoff game.
They're not winning a playoff game. And, you know, you just kind of want it to be more, you just kind of want a more exciting team in there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And obviously both conferences are so bunched up. This really is the most anything is possible season. I don't know. Maybe you could say other years, and I feel like I said the same thing last year, but this year, like, no upset would surprise me at this point.
No.
And it's just been so unpredictable. You talked about the Chiefs Cowboys game. You know, it's a 19-9 game. The Chiefs have been winning on their defense.
Yeah. Suddenly, you know, they found a defensive identity. I know that people always point to it. It's like the coaching staff and whatever when a team's not playing well. But like, I've never, as a guy who, you know, gloriously had Super Bowl runs with Spagnuolo, it's like I never doubted that guy's ability to like have a game plan. And I think that they have enough talent to play good defense. They don't have like tons of playmakers on a defense, but they have a couple. I think also when you talk about that defense, it's like, hey, you gotta, it's all works as one. That's why, like, the idea that through the year, you know, like the idea Chip Kelly comes to the NFL and is like, time of possession doesn't matter. There's like defensive linemen. They're like, we promise you it does. Like, please get us off the field. Through the first few weeks of the season, the Chiefs were straight up just turning the ball over too much. And, you know, you can say, oh, the defense didn't stop anybody. It's like, can they get a break? Can they have not a short field? It's like, it's a totally different defensive strategy when the other team gets the ball on your 35, as opposed to when they get it on their own 15. It's like, you can do all kinds of different things. So it's all coming together. The offense has found some rhythm. They've stopped turning the ball over as much. The defense has obviously started to put it together, which, by the way, if you look at the Spagnuolo defenses in the past, this isn't the first time either that it's taken them, you know, 6, 8, 10 weeks to gel and suddenly get hot at the end of the season. And you're like, oh, their defense is really good. Like, this is something, you know, everybody's got to learn to play together. And, you know, it's all about chemistry. It's all about everybody knowing their job. I just think that they're defensively, I still think they lack in personnel a little bit, but all in all, you got to think with their offense, with their playmakers on the offense side of the ball, with a couple of the playmakers on the defense, that the Chiefs are always going to be a threat to literally anybody they play.
Now, you texted me that the Cowboys are paper taggers. You're saying it's confirmed. even
Yeah.
in this crazy NFL. Normally I would agree, but I feel like this unstable season where anything is possible. I don't know who the paper tigers are. Like I would say that I would probably lean that way for them.
It's just that they had that game, right? They had that opportunity there where they're playing a team that's hot. They're playing, a team that in the last few years has made deep playoff runs, been in the last 3 straight AFC Championships. It's like this could have been the signature win of the Cowboys season, and instead the everybody's claim of the best offense in football, like Dak should be getting MVP votes. What did they do? They scored 9 points.
Yeah.
The Cowboys kicked the shit out of the Falcons. Okay. Does anybody think the Falcons are good? They got their ass kicked by the Broncos. Does anybody think that the Broncos are fucking, an amazing football team? They win a close one against the Vikings. The Patriots win for them 35-29 over the Patriots. Is their single impressive win of the season?
Yeah.
At Chargers 2017, that was week 2. More of a disappointing Chargers showing than like, oh my God, that Cowboys offense. Otherwise, what did they do? They lose to the Bucs. They beat the Eagles. They beat the Panthers. They beat the Giants. They beat the Patriots. That's the defining win. They beat the, they beat the Vikings. It's like, this was their moment to be like, no, we are what our record is.
Yeah, and that division is tightening up. Not that they're going to lose it, but the Eagles keep winning. Washington's won 2 in a row. Your Giants are going to be competitive. I'm not saying they're losing the division. I'm just saying none of these games are gimmies.
Yeah.
The NFC East is shaping up better than people thought. At least I think that. And all these teams in these division battles are going to have to fight every week. And also, again, we have that no one knows, like, I can't state it enough. No one knows what this extra week brings.
Right.
It's something we've never done before, so we don't know. This extra week just kind of throws a wrinkle into everything. I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of the audio or I'm sorry, listen during the Bears Ravens game with Romo and Nance, and they were talking about that. They were saying, oh, a lot of teams with good records, but Romo was like, I think there's a good chance you're going to have 8 with the 7th team. I think you're going to have an 8-9 team, maybe in both conferences, that makes the playoffs under 500.
Yeah. And going back to the Cowboys, it's like, listen, I know that the Eagles have a good win yesterday against the Saints. And I know, like you said, like the Giants probably aren't in the mix because I think it's safe to say, although obviously I'll be rooting against it, that they lose tonight against the Bucs, and that kind of puts a nail in their coffin as far as, the rest of the season goes. Although they'll be in the, they could beat a Cowboys team. So could Washington. So could Philly. Like that division will have some funky games toward the end. But when you look at the Cowboys, I think they still win that division.
I agree.
They're still 2 games up on an Eagles team that I still think that played over their heads yesterday. That being said, it's just when you look at that Cowboys team, they have incredible playmakers on both sides of the ball. But as a team, like, I just don't like you talk about them, their matchup against potential NFC playoff teams. I know this is like the wonky last few weeks, but like, I'll take the Rams over them. I'll take the Bucs over them. I'll take the Packers over them. I'll take, like, who am I not thinking of? Like, there's a lot of teams I would just straight up go like, I will absolutely take this team to beat them in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Arizona, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, the Rams. Right now, the other teams that are in the playoffs, New Orleans, Minnesota. Okay, maybe I don't love them against the Dallas team, but I have them as decidedly worse football team than Arizona, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and the Rams. That's just me. And I think that if you come out there and you're riding everything on taking the ball away,
well, I'd agree with everything you said,
and a high-powered offense, and you score 9 points, then what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah, I concur. I think all those teams are that much better. I think obviously they have a good shot against the Vikings and Saints, especially if they're hosting a home game, which it would be if the season ended today.
Right. But I think if the season ended today, who would they be hosting a home game against?
Minnesota.
Okay.
And that's a huge win for Minnesota. I mean, Justin Jefferson is just, he's going beast mode the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That dude will catch anything.
And Thielen's like now become like a afterthought, and it's still really, really fucking good.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, you know, I'm a Kirk Cousins, not hater, again, truther. And
you're a Kirk Cousins hater.
No, I'm a Kirk Cousins truther. I feel exactly about Kirk Cousins how I should from his career. Other people might be Kirk Cousins slurpers for some godforsaken reason. But you look at that game, first of all, they almost blow that game, which they've blown a lot this year. But also, I mean, a couple real breaks on terrible Cousins intercept. I mean, the one in the first half, he threw the ball. I don't know. As far as I can tell, he thought he played for the Packers for a minute. I mean, he threw the ball to a cutting Packers guy in stride.
Yeah.
And then it's like, 8 seconds after that, a guy touched him above the letters on his jersey. So it doesn't count.
These, I saw a ton of them yesterday. These rough in the passer calls.
It's ridiculous.
These taunting calls, these are such easy things to clean up in the sport. There's such small things that fuck up the whole game. It does. These things ruin the games. These light touch. I'm just sick of it. I'm so sick of it. It's one thing to protect the quarterbacks. It's another thing when he gets pushed and these guys act and they fall. Clean it up, NFL.
And
no one likes
also
it.
From game to game, like I think it was in the Chiefs game, Mahomes gets smushed in the face by a hand, but they don't call it. And it's like, listen, I hate these rules where you're going, here's the deal. You just can't hit a quarterback in the face at all, unless you just kind of hit him in the face. And then it's blah, blah, blah. Also, you can't hit guys low, but you can't hit them high. To me, the answer, and it'll never happen because like people just wouldn't accept it, is like, let's turn down the penalties and also just turn back the clock on the equipment. Like, put them in fucking leather helmets. Put them in fucking soft ass shoulder pads. Look at rugby. Look at Aussie football. You're not getting cranium to chin because they can't do it. They're not protected.
Yeah.
These guys are strapped with weapons.
Yeah.
And then they move at these high speeds. And then it's guys launching at each other. And we go, you can't launch at each other unless you're on offense. But then it's also, it's like, it's so fucking stupid. These subjective rules where defensive players are getting penalized because offensive players are lowering their head, or it's just stupid. Just turn back the clock on the equipment.
And the taunting stuff is so bad. Again, I want someone from the NFL to answer this question. You can't point like the Chiefs did yesterday. You can't point at someone as you're walking into the end zone. But if you go in the end zone and you do the in sync bye dance in the other team's face, that's not taunting.
Right.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, we've already been through taunting on the show, and it's
I have a call,
insane
though.
Rule.
I have a call real quick. I'm going to play about it. If the call connects. Let me try it again.
What's up, boys? Stripper Dirtball Bryson here, calling from ATL tonight. I'm sure you might cover it on the show, and if you do, maybe play this call during the end, or if not, hell, we can cover it now. Reading the quote from old Matt Nagy with Chicago Bears about the taunting celebrations and the flags, and he actually agrees with them. He's saying, young kids watch this game. We need to teach them how to respect the game, have fun, but respect the game within the rules. So he's fine with these penalties. So I'm just curious. So we can have alcohol sponsors, gambling sponsors, while these kids watch the games. Like, hey, kids, fucking drink all you want, gamble your salaries away when you grow up, but God fucking forbid you point after getting a first down or celebrate after making a sack. So that's the NFL for you, I guess. Don't fucking celebrate, kids, when you play football, but grow up and gamble your money away and drink while you fucking do it. Jesus fucking Christ, what a shit show. Stay dirty, boys.
Now, he should be fired for what he does on the field, but this quote, I don't know if you saw this, I'm going to read it. What Matt Nagy said about this, it should be fired on the spot. He's talking about the taunting stuff. Matt Nagy said people watch and people want to see a little bit of respect and a little bit of doing things the right way. It doesn't mean you can't have fun, but there's young kids right now that are watching games. And what happens is you go to one of these sporting events and you might see imitation going on that's taking it over the top. I'm a firm believer in respect and just kids growing and watching, and we have a huge platform as leaders, players, and coaches. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I don't have to go through everything. Literally, Sunday Night Football featured a 2-time rapist. So shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Like, end of story. All I hear is good things about Ben Roethlisberger. He's a 2-time rapist. And the NFL didn't really do shit about it.
He didn't do it on the field, Andy, so no kids were watching. If kids have been in the Harvey's Hotel and Casino in Lake Tahoe, they would have, they'd be imitating what he did there, but they're not. On the field, though, plays with respect. The stupid thing is just like you get into this fucking stupid area where it's like, historically, if a guy gets a first down, he points. So now if I'm a defensive player, if I jump in the line of his finger, is he now pointing at me? And now it's a taunt? It's like, it's so fucking stupid that we're doing pointing and waving and whatever. It's like, I get in the NFL or in the NBA, I should say, a couple of years ago, 5 years ago now or whatever, they made this throat slit like totally banned. Like, you're not allowed to do, I've murdered somebody anymore. Okay, that's reasonable. Okay, I understand a guy getting a first down shouldn't be able to take the football and hold it in its arms and shoot it like it's a gun and then lay it down on the ground as if it just murdered the football. But you can't like fucking point it. You almost got me, but I got in the end zone. You can't point to a guy. It's fucking stupid. But honestly, we're just yelling at a wall. We're old man yelling at clouds. There's nobody who listens to the show who disagrees with this at this point.
True.
So we've done it like 5 straight episodes.
Yeah, you're right. Well, let's just go to that game. I mean that Bears game, you lose to Tyler Huntley. He drives down the field. Matt Nagy's terrible. He is awful. Absolutely awful. The fact that the Bears lost that game to the Ravens I don't know how he's not fired the minute that game ends.
Well, if he wasn't fired for a million other things since then.
That is an inexcusable loss. You let this guy drive down the field and score a touchdown on you. It's embarrassing.
Matt Nagy's the new Adam Gase. He's the new Bill O'Brien, where you're like, what has earned him? What has he done ever that earns him
the right
to like just be bad and continue?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm a Bears fan, I'm losing my damn mind with him as a coach. It's embarrassing to watch. The minute I see Lamar Jackson out of that game, I'm thinking, how can the Bears lose this game? Even with Justin Fields out. Because to be honest, I don't think it's really much of a drop off at this point, or if any.
But also at this point,
Fields,
if you're a Bears fan, like You can't even root for losing. What do? You draft another top 5 pick at quarterback for the third time in 5 years, and he sucks because Matt Nagy doesn't know how to coach. It's like, what are you even rooting for at this point?
Yeah, well, you know who can top the Bears? The Lions. Dude, this quarterback, do you know about this quarterback, Tim Boyle?
No.
Dude, this is wild how this guy got a start. This is the status of the Detroit Lions organization. And shout out to Tyler Hawkins, our analytics dirtball. And we're going to go over some kicking analytics that he did for me because kicking yesterday was atrocious. But he tipped me to that. He's like, dude, you gotta follow this guy. The fact that this guy's starting. This Boyle, like how this Tim Boyle guy is in the NFL, Joe, is one of the wildest takes. The Ringer did a whole article on it. They're like, how is this guy like in the NFL? Tim Boyle, he played 3 years at UConn. I'm not making this up right now. And 1 year at Eastern Kentucky. His 3 years at UConn, he threw 1 touchdown to 13 interceptions.
What?
Let me repeat that. Tim Boyle's first 3 years of college were at UConn. He threw 1 touchdown pass to 13 interceptions.
And then he goes to Eastern Michigan. He transfers there.
Eastern Kentucky.
And then what happens?
He throws 13 interceptions to 11 touchdowns. So in his college career between UConn and Eastern Kentucky, he threw 27 interceptions to 12 touchdowns and somehow became Aaron Rodgers' backup. Like the Ringer article is making jokes. They're like, does he know? So does he have something on somebody? Like it's a pretty funny article because it's like, how is this guy in the NFL? Like, does he have something on Roger Goodell? The joke they wrote in the article, is he Roger Goodell's illegitimate kid?
Yeah.
So then he somehow makes it to the NFL. I'm being an awful college quarterback at 2 small, awful programs. He's Aaron Rodgers' backup.
Guys, remember, Kaepernick's out of the league because he sucks. Not because he was blackballed. Because he sucks.
Dude, this is wild. Jared Goff goes down, and this is their quarterback? He had a 1-13 touchdown to interception ratio at UConn for 3 years. How is this guy in the NFL? And if you're a Lions fan and you hear that, I mean, dude, at this point, I will destroy the Bengals organization. The Detroit Lions, I mean, it's next level.
Well, it's funny because I did that. I said that thing about how the Lions should walk out of their Thursday night game or their Thanksgiving Day game, right? And somebody put it on like the Detroit Lions subreddit.
Official Reddit. Yeah, subreddit.
And Lions fans, this is how abused and confused Detroit Lions fans are. They're like, oh, now I got to buy a ticket to the game just to walk out? What does that prove? And then other people are like, I think the owners know that this team sucks. What are they supposed to do? I'm like, first of all, I know the Lions are awful, but I'm assuming, for one, that they sell 60% of their tickets to season ticket holders. I mean, most NFL teams are almost entirely
season ticket holders. Sure.
So first of all, you already own the tickets. Maybe don't try to sell them on Thanksgiving Day just to fucking make a quick $20. Maybe take that opportunity to use your own tickets to go to the game and walk out. Also, this idea that Lions ownership knows they're bad. Well, the whole fucking world knows they're bad. The point is they've been bad for the entirety of the 50 years that the Ford family's owned them. What it accomplishes is being like, we are walking out right now and we're not coming back. We're not selling these. We're not buying these season tickets next year. Start a thing that says, Season ticket holders are going to walk out on Thursday. And when they walk out, that's it. We are leaving and we're not coming back. We are not renewing season tickets to this debacle. Sell the fucking team. Because in the end, that's all that matters. They need to fucking make money. Now, they're going to make money on their TV deal. But you also need the NFL will do something
if the optics look bad.
If no one's at these games.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the optics. If the optics look bad. You
need to walk out. The idea of like, oh, I've got to pay to go. Yeah, you got to go pay to go one last time. You pay to go, you walk out, and you don't come back. And people you got to stop buying tickets to these games.
You want to hear something crazy? I don't know if it's crazy.
But that's how abused they are, Andy. They're like,
so
what
abused.
am I supposed to do?
So
I just got to keep going to these football games and hoping they figure it out. I'm like, yeah. Jesus, the Detroit Lions subreddit is like a fucking, it's like a collection of truly abused children.
It is.
It's like, Dad still loves me. He hits me because he loves me too much.
No, I mean, look, dude, it's proven. It's the guy who's molested as a child becomes a child molester.
Yeah.
It's the gross circle. And the Lions are molesting you. And then you're going to molest your kids by getting them to wear Detroit Lions gear. It's a sick cycle. It really is. But I'll say this, as bad as Tim Boyle, because I had that game on, as bad as he was, I don't know if Jared Goff's any better. And I'll tell you what, Baker Mayfield played just as bad, I could argue. Baker Mayfield should not be playing right now. He just shouldn't be playing.
He shouldn't be playing until Odell comes back. When should he? What's going on with Baker Mayfield? I was told that Baker Mayfield had walked through to the other side and that he's now living in.
This has nothing to do with Odell.
Happy Gilmore's happy place, where it was just little people with pitchers of beer on tricycles.
That does sound like a great happy place. He's so injured. And I don't know if it's a combination of injuries, bad play. It's probably a combination. But in my opinion, like when he's scrambling, he could barely run yesterday. And this notion of like he's going to play through it is just stupid. If I'm the Browns, you got Case Keenum, who's a completely competent quarterback. He's already won a game this year. And the Browns still have a great D. Like, you know what I'm saying? They have playmakers. They have a defense that is going to keep them in games. You have two great running backs. Kareem Hunt's been out for a while, but Nick Chubb played great yesterday. You have a great running game, which you're run-oriented. You got some playmakers. You have to play Case Keenum right now.
And I think you have to play him again because here's the thing. The Cleveland Browns are not going to be the 1 seed in the AFC. They're not. They're not going to be the 1 seed in the AFC. They most likely, although they're in the mix for it, they're most likely not going to win their division. Okay? So at this point, you're on the outside looking in. You're the 10 seed. You need to move up a couple spots. The only chance that you have of going on any sort of run is getting in, but then being healthy when you get in.
Yes.
This is something that, as a Giants fan, I know far too well, especially during the Tom Coughlin era. They would miss the playoffs half the years by a game, and they were sitting OCU Manura for 5 games in the middle of the year. They were sitting JPP for 6 games in the middle of the year. They were sitting guys who are like borderline playable. But then the years where they sat them and they still managed to get in, they all get healthy at the same time. And suddenly the pass rush is dominant and carries them to a championship and blah, 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 blah. You have to get in, but it's almost not even worth getting in if you're just going to hobble in. If you're just going to limp into the playoffs, don't even bother.
Yeah. And you know, that game yesterday, when you're up 13-0 on the Lions, you don't let them back in, and they did. And Baker Mayfield looked terrible, and I couldn't agree more. I think you got to sit him and see how it plays out with Case Keenum. Look, Baltimore is in control technically, but not really. Baltimore's up 1 game on Cincinnati. That's it. Right. And the Bengals crushed them in Baltimore. Steelers, we know what they are. We already talked about them. I agree. I don't think they win the division, but you got to let some guys rest.
Honestly,
Now,
if I were them, I would have been sitting Baker Mayfield ever since Case Keenum played that game. Also saw if Case Keenum wanted to get Odell Beckham the ball, then decide if we were going to move him. But, they picked their guy.
You're going to stand for Odell forever, aren't you? Aren't you?
We'll see.
Well, I talked about the Bengals. You got a call. Randy Ruther is turned.
I got a call?
You got a call. You got another call from
I
Randy
love that it's
Ruther.
for me. I picked the Bengals this week.
You did, but remember, you turned on the Bengals as far as. So Randy Ruther has some harsh words for you.
Well. Randy Ruther here. Just calling to tell Joe Haranga, you ain't allowed back on the bandwagon, bud. Your ass is done. Even when we win the Super Bowl, after that win over the Raiders, no doubt in our minds now. Can Randy Ruther get a hooday?
Did you have a Randy Ruther's feeling good. Bengals win in Las Vegas. And they're 6-4 now.
Well, first of all, I was on the Bengals bandwagon. Do you remember that? I got on after a loss to the Packers. I hopped on. I was all on. I hope they win a playoff game and Andy Ruther has to fucking whatever, blah, 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 blah. The bottom line is good teams, good NFL teams, like teams that can win an NFL playoff game. They didn't lose to the Jets. That was the end. Listen, when you lose to the Jets,
the Titans have lost. Oh, well, that's interesting because the Titans have lost to the Jets and now also the Texans. Are you saying the Titans don't win a playoff game?
Well, first of all, I've been saying since he went down, I don't like the Titans winning a playoff game without Derrick Henry. But good football teams don't lose to the New York Jets. Certainly not to the New York Jets with a guy making his first NFL start. Okay. When you lose to the Jets, I hop off your bandwagon and I'm not interested in returning. I love that you told me I'm not allowed back on the bandwagon. I'm not asking back on the bandwagon. You got for the Bengals, you got Steelers at home next week.
5 of the final 7 are at home for Cincinnati.
Steelers at home next week, Chargers at home, Niners at home. First of all, you got to win 2 of the 3 of those games.
Yeah, they have to. I agree.
And I don't think they do. Then you got Broncos on the road. You should win that game, but do you win that game? Then you got Ravens at home. Good luck. Then you got Chiefs at home. Good fucking luck. And then you got Browns on the road, which, I mean, listen, the Browns and the bank, like, I don't care where in Ohio Browns Bengals is going to be played. I don't consider it a home game. For anybody.
So I'll ask you. I mean, we're 10 games in. A lot can happen. We already know that. It's 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Do the Bengals make the playoffs? You just went through their schedule.
I'm going to say no. And here's why. Right now, Buffalo's 7, and below them are Pittsburgh, Indianapolis. I think Indy gets in. Indy's playing well. And I hate Pittsburgh. I fucking hate them. But I think if I had to bet down the stretch, Pittsburgh has played 1 less game than the Bengals. So basically, it's an even race from here on out. I'm just taking historically, not the Bengals.
Yeah, I agree.
I should say historically, the Steelers.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you something else then, because everyone's going to know.
Now, Steelers have a tough schedule from here on out. Steelers have Bengals, Ravens, Vikings, Titans, Chiefs, Browns, Ravens.
That's tough.
Maybe the Bengals make the playoffs, but either way, like, again, good football teams, and I mean teams that can win an NFL playoff game, don't lose to the Jets.
I'll ask you this then as a follow-up. Who wins because everyone knows my answer on this. Who wins a playoff game first? Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert, the 1-6 picks from last year's draft?
Well, I'm not loving the Chargers right now in terms of their ability to win a playoff game, but I'll go Herbert.
If you're a Bengals fan, I can't say this enough, and I know I've said it so many times. You can't watch yesterday's game and feel good. Burrow limped off the field multiple times. He's now been sacked the second most times in the NFL. He is getting lit up.
And he's awesome.
He's great.
He's
great.
Awesome that he survives it. He's awesome that he
agree.
plays well under that kind of pressure. You know, I've heard a lot of shitty quarterback defenders or mediocre quarterback defenders be like, he's under pressure all day. It's like Joe Burrow's under pressure all day. Joe Burrow's really fucking good. Joe Burrow's getting murdered, and he plays well. Kirk, it's like, yeah, but when he's pressure.
Well, that'll be a segue. We talk about quarterbacks under pressure and quarterback who we maybe disagreed with on some of the pressure in his career. Russell Wilson. I'm ready to I'm ready to give a eulogy to his time in Seattle. And to be honest, Russell Wilson looks terrible. I'm just going to say it. You cannot only score 13. Like, when you're facing Colt McCoy at home and you score 13 points and one of them is a touchdown late in the fourth
quarter. Colt McCoy
quarter,
owns Russell Wilson at this point. This is 2 straight years Colt McCoy as a backup has beaten Russell Wilson.
You got to blow up Seattle's team. And there's no excuses. You got Lockett, you got Metcalf, you got Everett, you got weapons, man. They just look bad. And Russell Wilson doesn't look good right now. The defense, they did what they gave up. The defense did, defense
was Russell Wilson a top 5 quarterback in the NFL for like more than 3 weeks?
No, I think Russell Wilson can get back. But I will say this about Russell Wilson. For as much love as I've given him, you're at that point in your career, man. This is year 10. You got your first major injury. This next season to me is a very make or break season for you and the top 5 status and all those things. It's all up in the air. Where he goes, what system he's under.
Well, he's not a top 5 quarterback right now. We know that.
Definitely not right now.
He's also 10th year. Remember, he came out, he's not Mr. High draft pick. He's not Mr. Junior year. He's not Mr. Starting as a freshman. He's turns 33 in a week.
There's no spring chicken.
Now, listen, that means at normal 2021 quarterback lifespan means he has 7 more, like he could play till he's 40. But
maybe,
I mean,
look, I just think you have to blow up that team. I don't know what that means.
But you're the Seahawks fan. So what does that mean? That means
no
Carroll. That means no Carroll. You're also a Pete Carroll fan.
I'm a Pete Carroll fan. Yeah. I think he's a great coach.
When you blow it up, what does that entail? You get rid of Russell, you get rid of Pete, you get rid of both.
I think they're a combo deal. And I like Pete, obviously, a lot. I think he's been a great NFL coach.
So here's the thing, and I'm gonna do it. The people who want to call me a Russell hater out there or whatever, you blow up it entirely. Okay, cool. Start fresh, whatever. Pete Carroll has a history of being a good coach when the defense is dominant. He's a defensive-minded coach. You can't keep Russ and trade Pete Carroll for a bunch of people. But you can keep Pete Carroll and trade Russ for a bunch of people. Do you go back to where you started when you had success with Russell Wilson, which was use him as capital, stockpile, build a defense, not pay a quarterback, find a guy you can put on a rookie deal, and give Pete Carroll the 5-year plan to try again. Now, Pete Carroll's also old.
He's like 70.
Right. But I'm just throwing it out there. It's like, you could wipe the slate clean. You could just, etch a sketch it and shake it and start completely fresh.
I don't hate it. I will say, and this might surprise you, if I had to choose between one or the other, I get rid of Russ.
Because he creates value. He creates
exactly.
He can be turned into something. What do you do with Russ and the same talent around him and a new coach and a new system? You start over 34?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Carroll, obviously, he knows what he's doing. I mean, how many years has he done this now? This will be the first losing season that him and Russ have ever had together.
I mean, I guess they could get Mike Leach and let Russ cook, which is probably what fucking,
Well, for the record, Russ
stands want.
Russ does throw a lot. Actually, if you look at I've looked into it. If you look at what the percentage of times that Seattle throws on first or second down, it's higher than most NFL teams.
Yeah, I know.
Obviously, he was injured. He definitely still looks rusty. I'm not making excuses. He's missing a lot of throws. He missed a lot of throws yesterday. But you cannot lose to Colt McCoy. You just can't. You can't lose to Colt McCoy at home. That spread swung so much for people who, I don't know anybody, for any of the bettors out there. Seattle went from being, they were like 2.5 to 3-point dogs to when it was revealed Kyler Murray wasn't playing again, to Seattle was like 2.5 to 3-point faves. I mean, that spread swung 5 to 6 points. That's the difference between Colt McCoy and Kyler Murray. You got to win that game. You're at home. It's inexcusable. So, you got to do something, because obviously San Francisco, I was worried about for a minute, but clearly they're figuring it out. And they got the run game going and they got the defense going. San Francisco is a team I would not want to play right now.
Yeah.
Some of these teams are really figuring it out.
Deebo Samuel just losing his mind, who's now a running back and a wide receiver.
Gotta love that name, Deebo.
Yeah.
I mean, some teams are really starting to click right now. You look at the Indianapolis Colts. You referenced it earlier. I mean, at this point right now, if we look at the MVP conversation, you have to include Jonathan Taylor right there. Right there. I have no clue who I would vote for right now for MVP 11 weeks into the season.
I mean, no one can still be on the Josh Allen train, right? No one can be on the
Murray's missed 3 games.
Murray train. No one can be on the Stafford train at the moment, right?
2 bad games in a row. I mean, who are you voting for?
Aaron Rodgers?
I'll say Aaron Rodgers. Tough not to vote for him. Tough not to vote for Jonathan Taylor.
Cousins.
Carson Wentz completed. Carson Wentz. Do you know how many passes Carson Wentz completed yesterday?
No.
10.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with the Colts team, which is for a couple of years, I just hated their quarterback, where they go Jacoby Brishkoli into Phillip Rivers. And then I'm like, you got to replace the quarterback. You're ready to win now. Then they replace him with Carson Wentz, and he's still fucking, I mean, it's watching Carson Wentz is like watching your infant getting strapped into a roller coaster without a parent next to him and being like, is that strap going to hold him? Is he going to fly out? Is he going to survive? If he does survive, does he come out with a traumatic brain injury? Like, what the fuck is going to happen? So it's like Carson Wentz, you just can't trust. Carson Wentz is one of those guys. Like, can you possibly trust Carson Wentz to have 4 playoff games without a complete meltdown mixed in?
It's tough. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's tough.
I mean, who else? I mean, is Mahomes going to end up winning the fucking MVP?
He could. I mean, he's leading the league in yards. If he continues to, if he goes the last 5-6 games without an interception.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who else.
I mean, they beat down the Bills in Buffalo, beat them down. I mean, Buffalo, wow. Buffalo. The Patriots are playing so well right now. What's scary about the Patriots is they're old school. You watch these Patriots game, you watch that Thursday night game, they are old school. We are going to play smash mouth football. We're going to run it down your throat. We're not going to ask too much out of our quarterback.
We're going to keep them under center. We're going to run it down your throat. Then we're going to mix in some fucking play action.
I said it last week. And remember when I said, I was like, are the Patriots suddenly Super Bowl contenders from the AFC? How can you not say that?
Well, if their defense plays like that, yeah, how can you not say that?
Right?
I mean, they're certainly contenders to get there. Like in the AFC, it's just such a blend, like from the top to the bottom of the playoff teams. I mean, right now, Buffalo is 7. 3 weeks ago, we said no one beats Buffalo. Buffalo's the class of the AFC. They're now the very last seed in. So yeah, it's
and the top seed, as we know, is playing terrible and doesn't have their star running back.
Right.
Ryan Tannehill. I know the weather was bad yesterday, but dude, 4 picks. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think if you're a Bills fan, oh my God. I just, the Patriots dominated that division for so long. And now you got MVP candidate Josh Allen. You make it to the AFC Championship. You're thinking they're going to take time to rebuild. And here they are. Just winning and winning old school. 5 wins in a row.
I mean, you know, sometimes that feeling where you're watching porn and after you're done with what you're doing and the porn's still on, you're like, oh, what am I watching? That's got to be Buffalo Bills fans right now. Early in the season, they're just jacking off to this team. They love it. Yeah. They're jacking off. Then they're done. They're done and they look down. They've jizzed all over a broken plastic table. They've got wing sauce all over their fingers. And they're not even in first place. They just you just must feel like, oh, you just want to throw up on yourself.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're in your thing. Wing sauce everywhere. Broken tables. You're in second place. Cole Beasley's fucking having an unvaxxed parade outside the stadium while OJ's like, well, I still think, you tough Chiefs are going to be tough to beat. You're like, OJ, why? No, stop talking.
What's OJ doing, man? Like, what's he doing? Like, is he not using any of his Twitter fame to do anything?
I think he just is OJ. I think he's just sitting in Florida or wherever he is, puts out a couple of videos every week. I'm OJ Mahomes.
Okay, let's see what he said. Okay, let's grab a clip from 2 hours ago. Let's see what OJ had to say.
Hey, Twitter world, it's me, yours truly. Well, had a kind of interesting day in fantasy football yesterday. Started off kind of tough with A.J. Brown going down in the first half. You know, fantasy, you always say if you're going to get hurt, why don't you get hurt in the fourth quarter? In any event, wishing him the best. Hope he comes back healthy next week. I ran Tennessee's defense against Houston. They scored 0 points. Couldn't believe that. But what disappointed me the most yesterday was Dak Prescott only got me 4 points. Nevertheless, I still won my fantasy, and I have Saquon to go tonight. Um, I kind of don't understand Dallas. They seem to want to support the passing game with the run, and it seems like it should be the other way around. You do know teams that have 100-yard rushers tend to win more games. Teams that throw the ball 40 or 50 times.
All right, that's another OJ. Hey, I want to know who's in this league. Like who are the people in OJ's fantasy football league? Like, who are these people that are in OJ's fantasy?
The Menendez brothers.
What kind of fucking league is OJ Simpson in?
It's definitely the Menendez brothers and Robert Blake, Ray Lewis,
Giselle Maxwell,
Kyle Rittenhouse.
I mean, who is this league that he's in? Because fantasy is not that many people, right? It's like 8 to 10 people.
Yeah.
Is it just like his lawyers?
I'm assuming AC.
Oh yeah, Al Cowlings, yeah.
Yeah. It's probably pretty star-studded. Probably Al Cowlings, Chris Jenner, Kyle Rittenhouse, Machine Muhammad.
Oh man, like what's the award? I want to know. Like you know how much shit talking goes on in fantasy. Like
well, welcome back to OJ's Fantasy League. You know the rules. Every year, the winner will get the Wishbone Trophy. That will be mailed to whoever wins the league, and of course, the loser will be murdered. So don't finish last, everybody.
Dude, I love the jovial nature of every video. It's yours truly, OJ Simpson.
Terrible weekend for me. I start the Titans defense, and they don't do anything. And it would be a shame if I finish in last place and have to double murder myself.
Signing off, yours truly, hitting the links. Because he's doing nothing with it, right? It's like you have this platform, you have this following, and I love how Twitter won't verify him. I just love that. It's so funny to me.
Even though he just constantly puts out videos of himself.
Yeah. Like, come on, Twitter. You're going to not verify him now because he is a 2-time murderer, allegedly.
Right.
Just give him the blue check mark. Like, that's got to make you feel good. You think about that. You have a blue check mark and OJ Simpson doesn't.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild if you really think about it.
Well, I've also killed 2 less people.
True.
Allegedly. Well,
OJ saying run the ball more. OJ does have points here and there in between his CTE spouts. I also want to know who he's golfing with. Oh, I bet the Goldmans hate these videos. Like just him just out there every day talking about his fucking fantasy. The Menendez brothers. That's unbelievable. Are they still alive or were they executed?
I think they're still alive, right?
Oh, I bet it's the best fantasy league.
Remember the Mark Jackson card with the Menendez brothers sitting courtside?
What?
You don't know about this?
I'm Googling this right now.
There's a Mark Jackson, I think it's Skybox basketball card, where the Menendez brothers post murder, it's like 2 days post murder, are sitting courtside at Madison Square Garden watching the Knicks.
This is unbelievable. I shouldn't laugh. Yeah, this is unbelievable. They're on his left. One's got a Knicks hat on.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Jackson's passing a bounce pass. Oh my God.
Hand down, parents down.
That's unbelievable. I got to get to this since Tyler put this together real quick. A lot of kicks were missed yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So he put together a little analytics on kicking by year and success. So this year isn't the worst. The worst year of kicking on field goals was 2019 at 81.65%. Today, this year is more down than last year. But yesterday, listen to this.
Do you remember as a kid, if a field goal was inside 50 yards, you were just like, it's 100% going in.
I wouldn't say 100, but like
you felt like it was going in 100%.
Yeah. I had zero.
Inside 50, I remember just being like the Giants just lost the Super Bowl. Like the idea of a guy just like having a 43-yarder or whatever it is and just missing it was like never going to happen. Now, the longer ones, guys have obviously gotten longer, but at the same time, a little less accurate from in close. Guys, I'm sure there's more 50+ yarders made in the last 10 years than the 10 years before that. But I feel like the accuracy on the other stuff has got to have gone significantly down.
So listen to this. Yesterday, and I don't know, and he said so far. So, so obviously there's a game tonight. 16 field goals were missed yesterday, Joe.
Yeah.
It's a lot of field goals, man.
Yeah.
7 extra points were missed yesterday. That's a lot.
Now, obviously, extra points have also changed dramatically in the last few years.
But like you watch these games, man. Arizona missed, their kicker missed 2 field goals and an extra point. That's 7 more points that they should have on the board.
I would like to see the analytics on like a guy making a longish, like call it 45 plus, after he's already missed a kick of some sort. Like if I'm a coach of a team and my kicker's already missed like an extra point, I'm almost just straight up not kicking a 45-yarder. A 45-yarder is, you're on what? The 28-yard line?
Yeah.
Like I'm almost just not kicking that ball.
Well, and then it goes the other way, right? You look at what the Ravens have as far as, with them knowing they have a great kicker. The Bengals drafted a kicker. He hit 3 50-yarders yesterday. 3 in one game. Like that's the difference in that game right there, basically. There's some garbage points at the end, interceptions. My point saying like that's a difference right there in that game. Those 3 50-yarders. I'm willing to say this, and we've discussed it. I think it's undervalued. Maybe there's just not enough good kickers out there.
Obviously. I mean, you look at it in college too. It's like in the NFL, there's 30-something teams. In college, there's like what? But like in college, guys just fucking straight up can't kick. You watch guys, you're like, how did you make the team as a kicker? Did you lie and say you were a kicker? Like, is this the USC fucking admission scandal? Did you just have fucking Matthew Modine say that you were actually a kicker and you got on the Miami football team? Like, how has this happened? So yeah, I think it's definitely a lack of talent that's out there. But what's amazing is you would think, especially with the way sports is so specialized these days, like, why isn't there just like a fucking Spanish NFL kicking camp,
An academy.
Yeah.
Why isn't there an academy?
Where it's just like all these like soccer flameouts.
That's what was the fake football team this year?
You remember the Manning passing academy?
Yeah.
Why don't we have the Grammatica kicking academy? Like, why doesn't that exist?
What was the fake football team that we had this year? The high school team?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
How am I forgetting their name?
Bishop
Sycamore. That's a pivot for you, Bishop Sycamore founders. You pivot, just say, we're going to create the best kicking academy high school. Because I feel like with kicking, and I bet somebody like a McAfee would destroy me for saying this, but I feel like if you're, because these guys are athletes, don't get me wrong, but if you're an athlete, I feel like this is a fine-tuned thing where enough practice and enough good coaching, you can get good at it, right?
I almost think that that's the problem with kickers these days. Is like, you look at McAfee, obviously an athlete, like was fucking drilling people, like started as a fucking, kicker, became a punter. Like, I almost feel like maybe they're just trying too hard to make guys who are on the football team. And then so you take the guy who's on the football team and he's the kicker, and then he's not good enough to play in college, but he is a pretty good kicker. So now you're like, oh, go to college as a kicker. I almost think it's like, go for the fucking soccer dork and just be like, dog, just start kicking day one. Like, be a kicker from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because it almost feels so specialized. It almost feels like it should be. I mean, honestly, it almost shouldn't exist in the NFL. It almost shouldn't. It's like, why are these games being determined by a guy who doesn't really play the sport at all?
Yeah.
And yet Super Bowls are like being rested on their shoulders. It's like, 50 guys kill each other for a while, and then they wake up Adam Vinatieri, who's on the sideline doing Sudoku, and they're like, hey, you want to determine who wins this game? He's like, yeah, I got nothing else to do. Fuck it.
How you're putting it, it really makes how crazy. It really is that crazy. Think about it. That is nuts. If you really think about it, you're right. These guys are in the middle of a gladiator death match for 3.5 hours. And the kicker's
like, hey, what are you up to? He's like, I don't know, just selling some of my knittings on Pinterest. You want to decide who wins the Super Bowl? Oh, is that happening right now? Are we winning or are we losing? We're losing. So if I hit it, we win? Yeah. Cool. Sounds fun. Ooh, it's exciting. You guys gonna carry me off on your shoulders if you do, you big lunky looking handsome guys.
Why is this kicker suddenly kind of gay? You suddenly made him like, he's like, ooh, boys are going to be grabbing my buttocks. I love it. Yeah, it really, that is nuts though, if you think about it. I mean, how many games did Vinatieri decide? At least a few of them, the first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That they won. And obviously those are not easy kicks. Those are hard kicks, and there's a pressure field kick.
It's almost like it shouldn't exist. Kinda.
Yeah.
It's almost out of place. I'm sure I understand that, the birth of the game, it's a different story, It almost has no place in modern football.
Sure. And what would happen? We get rid of field goals and extra points.
I don't know.
It's just only touchdowns. Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, just think about if this happened in any other sport. You know what I mean? Like in any other sport, it's like the game comes down to the end.
Some guys make a half court shot.
You have the forget that. It's not even the same thing. You know what I mean? In basketball, they're at least shooting the basketball, and then they have a guy come. Like, can you imagine at the end of that Cavs Warriors series? They're like, we're about to go to overtime. Unless Andy Ruther can make a bullseye with this dart. And it's like, what? Why is there a dartboard on the court? What does this have to do with anything? When you play the entire game of football, the field goal fucking goals don't even come into play at all.
Yeah.
They're just like, okay, we were going to go to overtime, but bring the trampolines out. It's now going to be the gorilla versus the wolf in a dunk off to settle the NBA championship. Why in the hell would that settle it?
Yeah.
It would be just as crazy, wouldn't it? If the NBA finals was determined on a Phoenix Suns gorilla versus the, Milwaukee Bucks
The Buck.
deer or whatever
Yeah.
in a tramp dunk off, it would be exactly the same thing. It wouldn't even be a dunk off. They would just be like, all right, here it's over if the gorilla can do a flip dunk. If he misses, you guys win. If he makes it, we win.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it really is crazy if you really break it down. I don't think we think about it.
And the Knicks and Pacers are going overtime. Who's going to win? It depends which Menendez brother wins in an arm wrestling match. Eric, are you ready?
It's pretty nuts, man. Did you see? You had to have seen. You saw the whole LeBron
Oh, yeah.
fight
Yeah,
with Isaiah Stewart.
of course. Isaiah Stewart. I mean, you got to love his fight. At one point, he escapes into the tunnels looking for more violence like a ninja turtle. Like, where are you? He thought he was going to Pac-Man and go into the tunnel and somehow come out of the tunnel on the other side.
I loved it, man.
He went for the Pac-Man tunnel move.
And by the way, LeBron, that was a wicked elbow. Like LeBron can act like he didn't mean it. Come on, dude. I watched it a bunch. Like,
well, first of all, it seems like he swings his elbow through, and then it's his hand that punches him in the face, right? I guess my issue, first of all, be as mad as you want. Okay. I have a couple of issues with this whole incident. My first issue is he immediately says sorry, as opposed to when we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, where whoever got Jokic, I forget who. Oh, fucking Morris brother gets him, pretends he didn't do it. Or the Draymond Green of I'll kick somebody in the dick and act like nothing happened. It's like LeBron gets you, immediately kind of apologize. I don't know if he said sorry, but it's obviously, apologetic in his gesture. I didn't mean to punch you in the face. But then the guy gets in his face. It's like, dude, you're going to try to get through 25 guys holding you and eventually escape into the tunnel like you're fucking in The Fugitive. Why don't you just punch LeBron? You were in his face for a minute. I hate the NBA thing of I want trouble once somebody's holding me back. Jokic fucking body checked a dude. It's like, you want LeBron, tackle LeBron.
yeah.
You waited for Russ to come in. You waited for all these guys to come in. And now you're like, no, I fucking want him so bad. Why didn't you just deck him?
Because they want the drama. Because they don't really want to do that.
But then it's then stop the insanity. You got held back because obviously in some way you wanted to be held back, or else you would have just fucked them up.
Sure.
But then you're going to refuse to be held back and make it seem like you're get the fuck off of me.
Yeah.
My issue with this is manyfold, but first of all, the hot take that LeBron did this on purpose is so stupid. Or that this is some sort of character assault on LeBron is so dumb. That being said, I'm also fight him, dude. This is exactly what I said about Jokic. Dude, if you feel LeBron punched you in the face, then fight him, dude. Fight him right now. Shove him in the back. Hit him with a chair. Fight him. I'm cool with that, by the way. I'm not defending LeBron to the point where I'm like, he doesn't deserve to get decked back. Hit him. But don't do this thing where you posture until 10 guys are between you. And then you're like, I would do anything to kill him. Well, should have gone Jokic and killed him when you had the opportunity. Because then it just seems fraudulent.
Yeah.
I mean, where am I wrong? Am I wrong in any of this?
Well, I mean, personally, I enjoyed it. It was entertaining.
Oh, it was amazing.
I think the Lakers suck, man.
And it was happening in Detroit.
Yeah. I don't think the Lakers, I just don't see them turn. I know it's 18 games in. I don't know. I don't like this team at all. I just don't.
Well, like I said,
and LeBron, let's be honest, man, it's finally happening. You knew it was going to happen, Father Time.
Yeah.
With the injuries and.
Well, we knew it was going to happen, Father Time, and also obviously just the miles.
I'd be shocked
It's
if he
all about miles.
I'd be shocked if he won another title, like where he's got to be that central of a piece.
No.
Right? Because it's just he's lagged too many years. It's just I don't know. I think Anthony Davis. I'm not going to use the word disappointing. I just think he's not. I don't think he's playing to his potential since he joined the Lakers. That's just my take.
He's had moments of it.
He's had moments. He's had stretches. I just don't think he's consistently played how they need him to play.
I hate to go full Shaquille O'Neal, but you kind of can't. If you're Anthony Davis, you kind of can't ride the fence between being like, oh, I'm going to fit in and be this guy who, is big and stretches the floor and whatever. And like, quietly going to want the finals MVP, like when we win it and whatever. And just being like, hey, I'm going to put my back to the basket and fucking dominate some people. And by the way, you don't have to put your back to the basket all the time on the block, but like just being like, I'm going to get the ball on the block or the high block or the elbow or whatever and just dominate guys. It's a very Shaquille O'Neal, like, how you not just going to score 45 and 15 every night and call yourself all NBA? When I was in full Superman mode, there's just no stopping me. Just give me the ball. I'm going to eat Chris Dudley for lunch and I'm going to shit out little pieces of him. And I get it. It's a little bit antiquated and it's a little bit ridiculous because there is no Chris Dudley in the fucking NBA now. But at the same time, it's like that was kind of the point of this pairing, right? You get the last of good LeBron and you guys can win a championship. He transitions into the latter years. You transition into the star. Listen, I hate to say it, but every team with Melo is going to fucking suck, first of all. And the Russ thing, it just hasn't even been what I thought it could be in terms of, well, Russ can just dominate random Wednesdays in Detroit. And it doesn't make them better in the playoffs, but it makes them a 5 seed or it makes them a 4 seed. Instead, now they're the what? 8 seed? The 7 seed? Which means they have to play in a play-in game?
Yeah. Well, we have some good calls. I'd like to finish the show with that. Some follow-up calls from the last 2 episodes, which I like. 310-359-8365. The hotline. Now, last episode, I shared a story about a very unclean gentleman at the gym, as we recall.
Right.
And I wanted your opinion on that, and I wanted the dirtball's
unclean
opinion.
makes it sound like he was wiping shit everywhere. He was certainly not a tidy gentleman.
No, he's a slob. Let's call it what it is. He's a slobby old man who's, leaving his crap everywhere. And I got into it with him. If you missed last episode, I don't even want to say got into it. I called him out on his mess in the gym. Is what I did. And we went back and forth, which ended with me calling him fucking disgusting to his face.
Right.
All right. So here's a few follow-ups to that. This is what the dirtballs have to say. It's running slow today.
What's up, guys? Matt from St. Louis, OG Dirtball. Just listening to Ruther's little gym incident. Fucking hilarious. Classic Ruther, but I totally agree. And just quickly, at least at my gym, they have the automatic dryer thing that you press down and then bags where you can put your damp clothes. I always just put my dirty clothes in that, which would really solve the whole issue of putting dirty clothes in your clean bag, which I agree is nasty. So just thought I'd weigh in. Love the story. Can't wait for the follow-up. Stay dirty.
I'm glad you left that call, Matt, because my gym does have that. And I totally forgot to mention
that little spinning dryer thing.
It doesn't have the spinning dryer thing. It has multiple air dryers for that. They're like more air dryers, but it does have a giant thing to put your plastic bags to put your dirty clothes, which is what I'll do. Right. If I run on a treadmill and that's all sweaty and then I'm going to use the shower, I take the plastic bag solution right there. It's not getting everywhere gross, but he didn't do that. So F that guy. All right. Here's another call on the gym beef. Come on.
Hey boys, this is Nathan, number 1 Wisconsin Dirt.
All.
What's going on today? Sorry, let me try.
Well, I wanted to call in about Ruther's beef with this guy.
Oh man, it's just stopping. Let me just hit refresh. It's a Skype issue.
In the meantime, we should have an up. Peng Shui put out a video, right, Andy?
Yeah, I didn't watch it,
but the WTA still the
Women's Tennis Association.
Yeah, they're still like this. We don't necessarily take this video to mean that she's safe and sound, but apparently she put out a video and made an appearance, so she is alive. Let's start there. Where is Peng Shui? Is the big hashtag? Well, for starters, alive. So that's something. That's just our Peng Shui update.
That's good. I titled last episode Mysterious Case of Peng Shui, thinking this thing's going to get removed. It wasn't removed. That's a fascinating story. I did see that the Women's Tennis Association is questioning. I saw that it might even threaten to pull tournaments from China. I'll believe that when I see it.
Right.
Because of the money factor. All right, let's see if we can try this again.
Ennis Cantor's like, you better fucking pull tournaments.
Dude, I don't know what's going on. All right, here we go.
Hey boys, this is Nathan, number 1 Wisconsin Dirtball. I wanted to call in about Ruther's beef with this guy at the gym. He's an old, cranky white guy, and he's selfish and not thinking about other people. He probably votes Republican. Just saying. Food for thought. All right, stay dirty, boys.
Look, man, I don't want to get it political because I don't know who he votes for.
Ruther's like, I don't want to get political because I also vote Republican. So it's, I definitely don't want to call him out on that.
I don't vote for anybody. I don't vote for anybody. You're probably right, but I would argue there's just as many old white selfish people that are Democrats. So I'm gonna cut right through that and say, fuck them both. By the way, I got a great yard sign idea, which I'm not going to reveal yet.
I think you'll find that if you go into the non-binary locker room at your tennis club, that you'll find that it is much cleaner.
You could be right. Speaking of that, I might, for the next half marathon or marathon, they do placement by age and gender. And I didn't realize this year, the Flying Pig, which is the Cincinnati Marathon, you could register male, female, or non-binary. Had I registered as non-binary, my placement, I might have won for my age range.
Wow.
So
the fastest non-binary in your age range?
I didn't look, but I think I would have been pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's many non-binaries registering. So I'm just saying.
In Cincinnati.
Yeah. I might have to test that out in the future on a race.
Can you imagine the non-binaries? I'm not sure what gender I am, but I know I love chili, so I'm staying in Cincinnati.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Joe, because that is our next call. You really pushed the button of Dirtball Stolze, Cincinnati Dirtball.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dude, he's coming in hot for what you're saying about chili.
Oh, God. Hide
Chili
macaroni.
Wars. Here, you know what? He got 2 calls. I'm going to play them both. This all goes back to what you said about chili last episode in Cincinnati, and he's all.
I don't even know what I said.
Well, you'll remember now.
Okay.
If we get the calls to play.
What's up, Ruther and Prano? It's Stolze from Cincinnati. I'm listening to the newest episode, Thursday's episode, and I think I'm like a minute and a half in, and Prano's already got me fired up. So, Ruther, I know you're going to bat for this, but the fucking macaroni thing, I don't care if you're Italian. I don't care if I don't care. You need to actually name the correct ingredients. Otherwise, you're just spreading false information. You're like Aaron Rodgers at this point, just saying, yeah, it's macaroni. I'm so rattled by the Skyline comment, man. I don't even know what else to say. So fucked up. Stay dirty.
And then he follows it
Hold
up.
on, before let me do the macaroni thing. Let me get here's the thing. As an Italian, my brain cannot process it. I've eaten it. My brain cannot process that you guys take your chili and you dump it on top of spaghetti. And in my brain, it's still just hamburger helper to me. It's still just macaroni that you guys dumped beef into. It's just like, I know it's not, but in my brain, I'm like, there's 2 major Cincinnati chains that essentially are in the hamburger helper business. As an Italian, I cannot process that people make spaghetti, probably the most famous of all of the pastas, and dump their chili on it. I can't process it. I know it happens, but my brain, the connect between my brain and my mouth, every time I see it, I just see hamburger helper. Okay, now give me his second one.
Well, I think his second one is about the Italian thing, actually. So this will work out. Come on, play.
Remember the hamburger helper glove?
Oh, I got something else too. Ruther, I'm glad you brought up the fact that it was Greek. It was like, it's all from that area, the Mediterranean area. So, with that being said, why does it matter where it came from? I don't get why just because it's Greek it means that there can't be spaghetti. It doesn't make any sense to me. I just don't understand how just because you're Italian you can't like it because it's.
Oh man.
By the way, I'm not saying it can't exist.
Chili on top of spaghetti? Come on, man. We got to be a little bit more open-minded than that. I mean, think of all the crazy-ass food combinations that people eat. That Prano probably eats, that you probably eat, Ruther, especially when you're fucking high. I mean, let's be real. You just start throwing shit together at midnight when you're like, dude, I need to eat something when you're stoned. But you draw the line at spaghetti and chili just because you're Italian? I don't know, man. Seems kind of closed-minded to me, personally. But anyway, that's my follow-up. Greek food is fucking incredible. Cincinnati has all kinds of Greek restaurants. And as a matter of fact, Parcel Chili is a Greek guy as well. So they know what they're doing. You're just closed-minded, Prano. I'm sorry. Stay dirty, boys.
That's another hot spot. That's on his side of town.
First
the
of
west
all,
side.
I've eaten it. I'm not closed-minded. We went to Skyline when I was there. We went into it. We ate in a Skyline.
We did.
I'm not closed-minded. I ate it. And once again, the thing is like, yeah, maybe Greeks don't have a problem shitting on Italian culture. They're like, yeah, they have fucking pasta and they have chili. Let's smash them together. It's like, listen, as an Italian man, I'm not going to fucking show up to the fucking Parthenon and, fucking take a shit. Like, don't, just because you're also in the Mediterranean doesn't mean you can pull from our culture and then pollute it with some random Midwest canned chili culture. What do you guys like? Put it on top of fucking, Wrap it in a fucking gyro or something like that. Like shave your fucking chili off a spit. Like wrap it in grape leaves. Why do you gotta get our people involved in your nonsense?
It's so funny to me because it's such a, we saw it with your Mets. It's such a, who said it on the Mets this year?
It was Darling and
Keith Hernandez.
Yeah, I don't think it was Cohen that was like shitting on.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it was Cohen. It's just so funny because everybody likes to destroy the Cincinnati chili thing, and like my thing is like whatever. Like I'll eat it. It's fine. He's right. If I'm stoned, sure, it's great.
But then also, let's be honest. There's so many, and I pun intended, layers to this, because first you take our pasta, then you dump your chili on, then you're just like, how about fresh diced onions? Like just like let's just sprinkle fucking uncooked.
The cheese goes next.
Okay, sorry. First, let's take shredded, like fucking bag cheese.
Wisconsin cheese.
Yeah, shredded Wisconsin bag cheese. We're just okay. Now, okay. So now on top of the cold cheese, what do you want? Just like fresh onions.
I never do onions personally.
I mean, listen, onions in chili is totally a thing. I make chili. It's the first thing I put in is onions and cook them all down. It's the chili, it's the onions and the beef is first.
See, I stick with the traditional 3-way, which is just the spaghetti, the chili, and the cheese. The 4-way onions. Now, if you add the beans on top of that, now you're at a 5-way.
Why aren't these beans and these onions in the chili? What is in this chili? Just beef and tomatoes? So you're basically making deconstructed pasta bolognese, throwing
it's not really
tomato cheddar, and
it's not really tomatoes.
What the fuck is in there?
For someone who worked there, I don't even know. I used to make it.
Some Greek guy's like, let's take pasta bolognese and fuck it up with fresh Wisconsin cheddar.
I'll say this though. A lot of Midwest towns, the stuff they're known for isn't exactly like good, healthy. Like St. Louis, the Slinger.
I mean, I would say St. Louis is like what is it? The baked fried raviolis?
Toasted ravioli.
Toasted raviolis.
Which is pretty good. But I'm saying like when I first got to St. Louis, it was like, oh, that was like their version of a Cincinnati 3-way was the Slinger. And that was just like a lot of Skylines or whatever, or Gold Stars, the late night spot. You go, you eat. It's not the healthiest. It's a lot of cheese. But like Cincinnatians, as you can see, are because it's not just those two spots. We're very sensitive because there's a lot of chili spots around here.
Right.
And they take it seriously.
And again, my thing as an Italian man is like when the Italians were getting their face spit in by like a glove when it was a hamburger helper, and I was like, okay, that guy seems ridiculous. I don't trust him to not fucking some random Greek guy, the neighbor. It's like, let's fuck this up.
Now you haven't had a Gold Star.
No, I haven't. It's soupier or it's thicker?
It's thicker. I'm and people hate me when I say this, and people get angry actually. I am partial to Gold Star. I like the thicker chili. And Gold Star has really good shakes too. Hey man, Cincinnatians are crazy about their chili.
Clearly. Stolzy's like really upset about it.
That's the most upset he's ever been.
I know.
Calling the show for 4 or 5 years.
I feel like it's one of these guys. I feel like he's one of those guys. He probably eats it 4 times a week, and he's just like, "How dare you?"
You know what it is? It's a spot. It's like we had a preseason tournament for the 4th grade basketball team that we coach, my buddy and I. And after the game on Friday, we were both hungry, and his parents were there, right? And his whole family was there. And he was like, hey, man, I was like, want to grab some food afterwards? And he's like, yeah, he's like, it's a central location. Let's just go to that skyline by our house. And my stomach, the truth, I was not feeling good at all. I thought I might shit myself during the game. And I was like, dude, I can't do skyline tonight. Like, I'm already having issues and I couldn't go. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what it is. That's the type of spot it is, where it's not going to be too expensive and you're just going to sit down. I would like to see the if there's a correlation between the obesity in Cincinnati and the number of these type of restaurants.
I just want to know, like, you know, what would Greeks do if we did, if we Americanized, if we were like, hey, I make moussaka, but I make it with McDonald's cheeseburgers. They'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh yeah, it's my mom's moussaka recipe, but then we put a double on top of it.
So there's some there's actually so the founder of Skyline is Nicholas Lambrinides, 1949. So there's actually
I'd love if somebody at the Christmas dinner at the Lambrinides house or whatever fucking brought out moussaka and it just had chicken nuggets sprinkled on top of it, how he would react. He'd probably be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, sorry. This is exactly what you did to Italian people's food.
there's some in Florida too, by the way, which makes sense. Florida,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All right, guys, those are the calls. 310-359-8365. Give us a ring. Hop on into the chili discussion. Hop on into the gym discussion. Shout out to, I forget your name, sorry, the Dirtball. I got a $5 Venmo donation to help clean up that guy's mess in the gym. The Dirtballs make me laugh. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Dirty Sports. Drop a podcast review on Apple. Leave that Twitter, Instagram handle, and I will get koozies to you in the mail. Joe Prano.
At Joe Prano on all social media, except for Twitter. I'm at Fix Your Life. Fun announcement. I was accepted to San Francisco Sketchfest, the 20th anniversary of a really great comedy festival in San Francisco. So for the Bay Area Dirtballs, many of you have come out to shows. I am on 2 shows there. I believe it's the weekend of January 21st and 22nd, I think are the dates of my shows. I'll be putting all that out soon, but looks like I'll be in Colorado, possibly in April. So just go to joeprano.com. We're going to try to stockpile some shows for the spring. If you want me to come to your town, DM me. Maybe you can help me make that happen. But otherwise, just follow me on all the social medias and keep drinking your Miller Lights and go Giants.
Yeah, make sure you stock up on some chili and beer. That'll make your system go real well. Good luck hitting the treadmill after that. See, we've come full circle, Joe.
Yeah.
It comes back to health.
Yeah. And if you want to know how I feel, on Thursday, when your family pulls out their beautifully cooked turkey, dump some chili on top of it and see how your family reacts.
Savage.
Dump some soupy chili and fresh onions directly on top of your turkey and see then if I'm just a fucking weirdo asshole.
Savage. All right, guys.
I think we should have the hashtag Dirty Sports Chili Challenge where people just, this is for Stolzy. I just want dirtballs to start taking cans of Skyline chili and dumping it on top of already prepared meals and filming the reaction of their friends to prove that I am not an asshole. When every single one of your friends, what do you mean you dump chili into the stuffing? Why would you do that? It's Thanksgiving. I agree.
That's funny.
Stolzy's like, what? You're not stoned enough for fucking chili stuffing? Why wouldn't there be chili and cranberry sauce?
Oh, it's so gross. We will record next episode on Wednesday because of the holiday. So if you guys are worried about our picks for Thursday, we're going to get those in Wednesday afternoon, evening-ish. So we'll have the show all ready to go before Thanksgiving. All right, guys, that's the show. Thanks for sticking around. See you in a couple days. And as always, stay dirty.